I wish for my ride. No one can save us. 418. His word just ended. The beast immediately screamed at the two grandchildren. Du saw this scene. Rush hit out a Chuang stop hand. However, the Khan despised the nine lips. The whole body suddenly released. A Chuang of Van Du hit the invisible wall. Quickly beaten out to the theater on the ground. The Greek Khan frantically mocked. In eyes filled with contempt spoke, ha ha ha. A small house in the sky. I also dare to manage the trivia here. I really don't know who gave you that kind of courage. So, the word of the beast again opens its wicked mouth. I run towards my two grandsons. The girl can't scream anymore. Father Khan, stop messing around. Do in the heart of urgency. I saw that my two sons were about to be devoured by the beast. Inside like a burning fire, filled with tears crying no. But it's too late. It was as if he had fallen into a frenzied tyranny. Both eyes are blood. You see, there's absolutely no way. Sighing, shaking his head. But right now, something happened that surprised everyone. The beast is charging aggressively. Not even time to swallow. The Takir grandchildren were stopped by a flaming red arm. The monk saw this scene and cried out with horror. On the contrary, the sky is holding its head. Look at the Kir. His face stood still for an hour as he. Is that person? Probably the most aggressive animal should not be teased. Celestial dance. And now I see him rise to hope. This person acted. Then anything can be solved. On the contrary, the people on Canaan Nung are afraid of the whole business. Why is it possible? Relying on the power of one hand, was able to stop the animal from riding. Father Han's 5th grade. There are people who have the power of God. God looks coldly at the bottom, as if a little disgruntled whispered. This pseudo-gentleman. It wasn't that he said no hands. What is this? But he was the first to jump in. Haha, that's not good. This kind of trouble only he can handle. I didn't even notice the laughter for an hour. Slowly put on your hand. Everyone who heard it also nodded in agreement. This kind of delegation of Kanung. There is only evil as the most evil. It can be solved. I don't care about people's horrible eyes. Most likely, he glanced at the two near him. My voice says, how long do you want me to stop it? Don't even get out. The old man was startled, but very quickly react. He hugged his nephew and ran away. Thank you the best. Thanks for saving the butler's life. He never forgets. The Khan was angry when he saw this. The beast also roared with anger. Want to get rid of the strongest hand? But the unicorn of the most ordinary. No matter what, you can't escape. My anger grew deeper and deeper. Looking forward, the most pathetic screaming son of a bitch. Dare to be big brother. Most people don't pay attention to his words at all. Slowly clapping his hands on the head of the beast, whispered. Sleep, kitten. The stillness that arises makes people even more terrified. The 5th-grade beast couldn't even react. What happened? Has aggressively fallen on the ground, completely lost consciousness. The emperor hurried up into the air. I was angry and looked at the best. How is this possible? Just one arm. He brought the 5th-level beast until he collapsed. The dogs are also terrified on the one hand, looking towards the most certain side of the world, more and more horrified. On the contrary, the sky is screaming for joy. Hooray! Or the majestic butler track. Steward of cattle. Subpoena butler, subpoena butler, subpoena. Congregation of canine velvet face panicked. Look at the surroundings. And then he looked in horror. Looking towards the most lightning, in the eyes of deeper terror. This guy is a butler. There is such power. What is the power of the universe? I've never heard of it before. And look, his reputation is great. Almost everyone knows him. Worthy to die. What kind of work do the intelligence guys do? Our side is completely unknown. It's a bunch of junk. Track the butler. You haven't even opened your mouth. A graceful voice suddenly appeared. Vin Nin tugged to strict. Rush through the crowd. Run to the safest place. Always mouth sorry. I'm sorry, Juo, your butler told us to go shopping. We're a little late. Please don't blame me. Even though we're just slaves. Even in your eyes, it is small. But we've done our best, too. Who knew someone was in the way today? Hear this word. Most likely, she looked a little confused. That just won her smart. One wink at a time, clear. I can't help but laugh. No, the tiger is a very good pretending princess. The dogs are getting more and more panicked. We looked at each other, faces filled with disbelief. Maybe this girl and the boy will come. It's just family and slaves. Look at the two of you. All the dogs are down in half. But let God be my family and servant. They're elders. It's about what existence is. I can't help but glance back. An aggressive person scolding the associate for deserving of death. What kind of intelligence are you? A guy named Holin used to register. It's also amazing, silently scolding her enemy. Why do we know God has such a strong family? Since when? Maybe they're flaunting it. But if you look at the surest side of the world, don't think so. A three-dimensional mystery. You can bring a 5th-level beast to the ground. This is the power of terror. I am afraid that even God is hard to fight. In the interim, everyone is looking towards the worst. The deeper the fear. If you know how to delay time, you can't go fast. If there's a delay, to make the owner angry, you can't be responsible. Slightly pulled hand. It is most likely towards the Vin Min people. Let's play a little bit with them. At this very moment, a young man with power said, "It was my servant who was rude. I ask you to forgive me for the offense." Most likely, they don't pay attention to him. Not even a glance. Just look at the people. The fog said coldly, "What are you standing there for? Don't even go shopping." Father Khan, in his eyes unconsciously angry. Two hands clenched tight into the right, two eyes rushed close. Look at the most beautiful. The princess in. Smiling softly. I'm afraid the noise is not big enough. Only about the delegation can Nung deliberately said track butler. The road was also blocked by them. Why don't we go shopping? Unconsciously frown. Most likely, he looked at the field. I can only see in her eyes that she's full of wonder. Transparency of her mind. That's right, wait a minute. Smiling for an hour. Most likely, he looked at the people. Puppy Velvet spoke up coldly. Now you guys. The capital's main road is let the people go. It's not for animals to stomp on. The fourth leg is best to get out. They blocked Lao Tzu's way. What do you say? The young man heard this. Bite his teeth angrily scolding. 419 Tarpaulin Tower. Above the high floor. People can't help but see this. Laughing softly, Long walked around a set of drama views. There's a good play to see. The strength of Velvet is training. Friendship day with the beast. Tell them to leave the animals behind. It also means they give up. Force and reverence. They will absolutely agree. Every time before you act. They will encourage the enemy first. Let the enemy out, hands first and then move. The final result, of course, he beat people for a reason. Make others not speak. Father Lap Khan could not stop being angry. Look towards the chat most vexed loud. You're son of a bitch. Dare to touch my horse. He said he wanted to move immediately. But the young Kier. Slowly moving forward, it stops the nerve cells from speaking. The animal does not leave the body. You only know how to move forward. You don't know how to move back, if you have the courage. So let's try to get these animals to retreat. The words just came out and everyone was startled. In the silent praise. Probably a bit of a shock. Staring at the guillotine. The corners of her mouth were filled with evil smiles. The young man is not simple. Long onion eye prints up light. Sighing a voice. What kind of god is this person? Handle everything calmly. Martial arts master Song Quan. It's rare. When you hear this word, you also have to listen. He must be a genius in general. That kind of heroic air that's cultivated on the battlefield. Not normal people will get it. Ha 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 ha, your eyes are quite good. Right now. A little laughter suddenly transmitted to everyone's hands. Turn your head and look back. It's the 4 tigers that are slowly coming. The lonely maple laughed out loud. We say we wait in misery outside the palace. Why the envoys haven't come? Turns out this kid stopped me here. I don't know what age this guy is. He can also dispute the title of the first provocation of the celestial sphere. Immortal name, ha ha ha. The TCAs can't say that. This time it is not certain that our family will find something first. To hear this word is to reward your hedgehog. Looking at the lonely wind explained. Slowly nodding, she laughed. You really are defending your people. Because you didn't say. This is the responsibility of the butler. In fact, Ra's early guesses. We've been fighting for years with velvet canes. Both sides are angry at each other. This time our mission is here. They will surely be crowned. We are also prepared. It's just unexpected. You're here to argue with them. That's right, less trouble. Hear this word. Billions couldn't help but glance at each other. In the heart of transparency. Turns out they're cocky. Because he wanted to be beaten at the royal gate. I can't believe I hit the most before. That's unfortunate. Think about here, and suddenly, the dog is right? You know that young leader? Lonely girl Feng unconsciously frowned side. Slowly nod your head, you just know. That's the old rival. He is the only son of the tower. General of the National Kenning Velvet Army. Tower 8. What is it that lack of marshals? I can't believe looking at him. Slightly nodding her head, she stared at the bottom. The face is a little unimportant. This guy is smarter than you. Extremely brave. There is nothing unskillful about laying out troops. Although the age is still young, it's very popular in the military. The four of us. He also fought with him. On the battlefield a few times, but they're all scrapped. He's about to replace his father. To become the next major marshal. Hear this word. Stray High accidentally squinted. Look at the young man. Finally, to bright eyes asked the CA. But others are okay. The lonely maple took a deep breath and spoke. Under the marshal, the Chinese army has 8 great defenses. Brave good fight. Invincible. This time there are 3 names. Then he raised his hand and pointed to the man who was the most certain. It's the second of the 8 angels. Father Han. From the time he was born, he had a mighty power. Rumor has it that you can kill a 5th-grade beast. Relatively difficult to deal with. He pointed to a thin Han cow. Lonely girl Feng continues to say hidden Lungor Lake Lean sigh. Intelligence probes the military when large armies engage. It's all in his charge. Who's very sinister. Maybe you don't normally notice him. But he always paid attention to me. The intelligence army under him. It's also accidentally good. Divergent High nodded softly. She pointed her hand at someone. Only half the face. There is also the famous body of the National Velvet Dog. Thien Lang Commune ranked BA in the 8 pillars of philosophy. A bow and arrow, and each arrow pierced. They are all spiritual soldiers. Where to shoot? Enemy general. Even the marshal had been hurt by him. What a formidable opponent. This word just came out of nowhere. As a general as well. He hadn't finished speaking yet, and the woman nodded. The face stopped sighing. Every one of the 8 guards is very brave. They're all Gaogui shining the scene up. Very good at fighting. Meet them on the battlefield. It really can't be underestimated. Everyone who heard this suddenly trembled. Seriously nod. Without the 4 tigers. All year round the school. I'm afraid they don't know either. But the enemy is so strong. Divergent C color condensed weight. Sweeping his face to look at the gray-haired old man asked the CA. Who is he? In the direction he just looked. Then whisper out loud. National Minister of Kanungkwak Kanti Ma. Equivalent to the Prime Minister of Heaven. Gia Sand Room Manager. How to say? The enemy's blood was sent to Sao. People startled. My face is full of questions. If he's that important, Sao can easily go to heaven. We take the risk. Maybe they're not afraid we'll lock him up. I didn't wait for the wind to reply. Miss Lamb next door has fluttered fan. His face showed a little sadness. The Chinese are not like us. Even though we have what's called for pillars. Support this world. But AI also has its own mind. It's like a woman and a man. AI will not believe AI either. So many years. The border conflict is relentless. Heard about the sands of the wind. Soon there was an intention to negotiate with the velvet dog. But I don't know who did it. Do you know why? Afraid of being sold by the marshal. People here are not stupid. Speak up together. She laughed for an hour. Slowly nodding even though the lady is not that person. But let the Prime Minister completely trust the subtext. It's a very difficult thing. But that's not the case with the Chinese. For example, this time, Tarpaulin said son, dare to let his son take Theo with him. It's because there's a ghost on one side. The ghost dared to come. Because they came in at the same time. The mountain has gathered 50,000 troops. Border protection. If the mission is in danger, 500,000 of them will march south. The two countries will immediately start a great war. This is general fire. When people hear this, they can't help but sigh. Let's see how much people know together. They are like that. The chaos is easy to understand. For a long time, Long Onion suddenly pointed to the women in the delegation. Puff Velvet's smile left. Then you are alone. That American girl is okay. This word just came out. Everyone looked at him and sighed. This evil spirit. 420 close muscle. Below the street. Most likely coldly looking at the enemy. Of course transparent. This young man thinks that pantyhose. They have animal bending. There is no outside. So it's ridiculous to want to be here with him. If you think about it, most people will laugh. I will let you withdraw yourselves. Keep your nose open for you. Do we really have to do something? Haha, if you can do whatever you want. The wind can hear this word. Licking her lips softly, in the eyes of victory. Looking towards the most definitely provocative. You laugh the devil. Most likely, the world suddenly rises. Suddenly a blue flame appeared in his eyes. Sweeping my eyes at the beasts roaring a quail. At the same time, an invisible force immediately swept through all the beasts. Make them afraid and shiver. In everyone's horror eyes. The beast raised its eyes to the sky. Suddenly there's a loud noise. And then the violence goes towards the city gate. All the animals seemed to have met something scary. Totally crazy. They just run away. The cavalry couldn't even react. Was knocked to the ground by an army of beasts. Trampled to a broken bone. Moaning constantly. I can see this scene. What are your two eyes crying out for? Don't run back. No matter how much he screams. The animals don't listen to orders. Just a crazy squid running away. There's no other way. He had to fly up into the air to escape. Horror! Look at all the 7 animals running out of the city. In the blink of an eye, he was gone. That the crew of Kanung. This moment can't stand. Struggling to fall on the ground, trampled by a beast. His mouth kept spitting out fresh blood. On the contrary, the long march, as if I had predicted this would happen. Just laughing. Because in the 100 families of men, they only saw one eye. More than 1,000 blood vessels were turned back. You can say it in front of the worst. These animals are trash. Not a little bullying. That's another 7-year-old. Only 6 people can survive. After the beast's riots. Filled with horror, looking towards the most certain. She looked at the woman next to her. My son is the best animal. What's this all about? The corner of my mouth suddenly sank. She doesn't seem to know either. But after the dust cleared away. Get closer to the Kier. There's a little twinkling in her eyes, and she screams. It is because of you. The most obvious is the call to look back. There is also a surprise in my heart. And it's her. Not expected. She's also one of Canoe's envoys. National. Just before the Kayanung delegation entered the city. Pay attention to their power. I didn't look closely at this lady. Tarpaulin stream knee. One side stops looking towards the most solid. Memories of that day at the mountain. This moment is still there. The endless obsession in her heart. And I saw him here today, and he's the one. They appeared in the empire. Who is the butler of any family? The 4 eyes looked at each other, and fell into silence. Both are full of doubt. I can't believe this head. But he's the one with the velvet cane. But that day, why did she appear in the 100 kingdoms? What does this have to do with? For the real purpose of the national velvet cane. When you come here, take a breath in your eyes. This hour is filled with thought. But while he's still thinking about the big picture, it's usually at the top. Let your teeth peach flower butterfly bite angry teeth. The devil here. But I know another girl. I see that this woman is also a traitor. Then we're not free. Long March saw this scene. 2 hands to the back of the head, reluctantly sighed. Back to the situation below. Banfong waterfall. I saw my sister staring at him. It's a little surprising. Ask Lin Ni to people you know. Slightly nodding. The tower came up, and the boy said in a low voice towards him. That is the man I told you about. She just finished. What did the dreaded windstorm tower cry out? Fell into his face. Unexpected in this world. There are still people who can frighten the animals. If that's the case, this person is too dangerous for a dog. They absolutely can't keep this guy. Think about here, all around his body, he suddenly became very close. I can feel the heat on him. Miss Feng is a little urgent to cry out. The wind is always calm. Sao suddenly appeared deadly gas. The man next to me heard this. Not paying attention either, indifferent pouting. Then why are they even better off? To be sure, they just find their own way to die. What are you worried about? We are afraid they will find us dead. That's right now. The woman said a word. To surprise everyone, the personality of this mortal. Maybe you don't understand why. If you annoy him, I don't know where you will go. If something happens to them, 50,000 troops waiting at the border of the mountain. People are startled. That's right, this word is not wrong. By the way, they made one thing clear. Even if it Angers, the king of hell, you shouldn't tease the devil. Probably the most. How to die otherwise and how to die raw sao. No one would expect. Probably a single moment. I can feel the eyes of the 7 angels. There was no fear but a little joy. It's good that they are waiting for them. If not, you can do some research on them. Think about here. Remember what you mean when you provoke. The wind and the eyelids trembled with cold. Look towards the most popular chat, for the person next to you to whisper. Father Khan died separately. Prepare for battle and kill him. The people who heard this word nodded. Private Sure Greek Khan to caught revealing excitement. Can't wait. Most certainly, there's no fear. Still the same calmly standing there. They keep their mouths shut waiting for them to come out. At this moment, the Guru Khan feels a little insecure. Looking at the 7 wind troughs speaking. This guy is not simple. The background is also unclear. We act arbitrarily like that. I'm afraid it's too risky. No matter who he is, it's also a threat. We must destroy him soon. If not the animal army of Canoe Velvet, we will be destroyed on the battlefield. I lost my eye and took a breath. The wind is steady. It was hard to have a small conflict with him this time. But this opportunity, killing him couldn't be better. Until then, even if you meet the Emperor, no matter what name he comes from, he also found his own way to die. It's not wrong for us to kill him. Unconsciously frowned to look at the most solid. Ghosts can only nod their heads. But the insecurity is getting deeper and deeper. The first time I saw this young man, it felt like the first time I saw the sand. The head of the department sighed calmly. Of course, talented people appear in class. The driver shouted for an hour. Immediately set the battle loud to the most popular side. Except for 121st time. The 6 people in your hands suddenly appeared. The bow field is mounted on a circuit. Towards the surest side of the shot. Most certainly, I don't care. Laughing for an hour. Waving your right arm. The corners of his lips rose with contempt. Stop it. And at this very moment a majestic sound came. Then a familiar body image suddenly appeared in front of everyone. On the handle of a long sword. Directly behind the yeller. What do you want to do with your horse? The body suddenly stagnates. I made a temporary stop. Looking at the person in front of you makes me stop. The waterfall is also a little frowned upon. Don't be afraid to stop. Already said, immediately towards the lonely woman holding the poetic power. Lonely old marshal. Long time no see. The lone warrior nodded in response. Long time no see. Probably the opposite is a bit of a shame. The old man came to destroy the... Why, I can't even fathom the enemy a little more. Then. But this time also NDTO. I know a little more about this power. Suddenly right now. The silver cascade suddenly spoke calmly. Lonely old marshal. You of the universe are so disrespectful. Today the family delegates to the Emperor can velvet. Long live your majesty. That's what your people are. They threatened to run our horses. He even injured my general. Does anyone else treat you like that? She considered taking the position of the lone warrior. As long as she denounces it, most likely they will be punished. The old hatred is over with him. It is a pity that God alone heard this. Looking back at the top, most indifferent people stand there. Then I looked at the people who said, sighing, National Master of Waterfalls. The old man saw that you were guests from afar. The kindness of a reminder. No matter what you do, it stops here. Let go of what has passed. You guys are not connected to this guy. This word just came out. What are the horrible puppies screaming about? To hear the words of the lonely warrior. He seems to be higher than him. Even he didn't dare touch it. What's this all about? They are becoming more and more confused about this man's identity. Then, I was surprised to look ahead. In the end, the direction. About the lonely girl of the battlefield asked the lonely girl of the marshal. Who is he after all? You also look like you are very shy about him. Take a deep breath. The old man laughed and did not stop him. It's just that this kid is very annoying. Is a spiky guy who can't get in. Last time the two princes provoked him. He is directly on the throne. You're the velvet dog. The old man was really worried about everyone. Let the two countries fight. That's not good. You thought you were telling him to stop because he did. The old man is saving you. This word came out in everyone's hearts. Looking at the surest side of the world, more and more panicked. In this word of solitude, there are two key pieces of information. First, this man is powerful in the sky. Even the prince doesn't have it in his eyes. No need to save face for the emperor. Two is the power of this human. Let the six of them come together. It's not convenient either. On the contrary, it is easy to seven. Let the two countries dispute. Just such a powerful figure. Saw before there was no rumor. The old man will take you to the royal palace. Remember to have less contact with the boy later. Lonely girl battle heaven. I looked at the dogs for a moment. Finally, he turned to the worst. Boy, no matter what happens to you today, give the old man some face. Even if they are guests. Glancing at him. Maybe you can just nod your head. I will save face for the marshal. But give them your word. This is Lao Tzu's territory. When they go out later, open your eyes to us. He said so, and led the people to leave. Leaving Kane Nung's people bewildered. With anger to shiver. They are today. I just want to make fun of the martial arts.